Hi, this is John again. This is my Lab 20 for the TI-RSLK, the Robotic System Learning Kit that I'm doing the road test for Element 14. And this is the last lab and module. There was no video for this, so it's all basically discovery. If you don't have somebody who's showing you this, it's a lot of self-discovery, and it took a bit of work, so I think I finally got something going. And in this particular one, you're adding the CC3120 that comes with the upgrade kit that I have, or with the advanced kit. And so that's, well, let me get this over here. Go turn that off so you see video. And so that's plugged in on over here. And one thing that you note, and I think Ben Heck showed it as well, but the way it is, this CC3120, when you plug something onto a board, it's very close together. So I've added these extra Arduino extension headers on here. That way I can get to the headers where I can plug power and ground. Otherwise you don't have that. And so you'd have to go wire it somewhere else. And so that gave me a bit of clearance up there, so that kind of helped. Because otherwise it's very tight inside there, and you can't plug those in. I'd have to take those off and find another way of routing them, and I wasn't looking to do that right now. And then so yeah, and this one here, so you go through a series of exercises with Wi-Fi. They have a network example. They use IFT and with cloud service for simulated button press, and then they have a lab that goes out and, well, the lab goes out and gets some weather information and brings it back, and then you also take that same lab and you convert it into and create it to go out to IFT. And so let me bring that back up here. So these, I have these are there's the lecture slides that they provide. In this particular one, they don't have video, so this module has no video, and it's kind of like an extra, I guess. Although the Wi-Fi module comes with the advanced and with the upgrade kit. So you have module 20 for Wi-Fi. It's basically theory, so they go over some of the theory, what you're going to learn, fundamentals of serial communication, uh, going over, they briefly go over RTOS, but they use TI-RTOS for this, for setting up. All the examples use that. And then how to interface with the Wi-Fi radio on the TI Launchpad, and then the drivers and stuff that are involved with this too. The one thing I did note, the problem with the previous modules and everything that you've been doing up to this point is non-TI-RTOS, and so there's a bit of a conflict between the two, and also between the CC3120 and the motor configuration. There's a pin that's P port 1 pin 6, I think it is, that's shared between that and the clock for the SPI for the module. So that doesn't quite work. So I really end up with basically just forward motion on my motors. Okay, so they go through some overview of some about the edge and IoT type stuff, and then so edge, internet, and the cloud. So this is basically what you're going to set up with the IFT. The edge would be the MSP432 and the CC3120, and then you connect it to your router to get out to the internet, and then go IFT. So again, kind of a bird's eye view with the overview, some information about pros and cons of using Wi-Fi. And then see here some overview, some information about TCP/IP and the OSI model and how that's laid out, and then the four-way handshake when you're dealing with connections between devices. And then it's a client server, so that was real quick. So then some simple link information on how that's laid out, how they can cover IIR, Kyle, and GCC, and then also the Code Composer Studio, which has the Studio IDE, the cloud, and Energia, but Energia, I don't think that's been updated for a while though. And then there's some resources. There's the Resource Explorer inside of Code Composer Studio. or you can go straight to the web, and this way you can load modules inside there too. So there's going to be a couple of things you have to load. You have to load in for the Wi-Fi support and for the TI-RTOS, and then MSP432 package, all that to get all this stuff working. And some information about serial peripheral interface, and so this is for the SPI interface. The hardware, so the CC3120, it's a network processor, has all these little goodies inside here, and then the ARM processor handling some of the communication and the offload of handling the packets coming in and out. And then the CC3120 hardware, how the pinouts laid out here, and I think the one that's in conflict is out here somewhere. I can't remember which one it is. So different applications for the Wi-Fi providers. Here again, this is your robot going through the router out to the cloud. And that's what one of the examples, and then the summary. So that's pretty much it for. Oh, I got some more. And basically what you're going to learn in the lab. The TI-RTOS. There's a brief overview of about RTOSs and TI-RTOS. Actually, on the TI's website, they have some videos that cover the basics for TI-RTOS and the basics, what makes it up. And so that's a good place to look. And then some RTOS basics and how you have SysBIOS kernel and the network and all this good stuff that's already kind of laid out, and then communicate out to configuration for yours. So there's already drivers and some other things that are there you can utilize. And then how it's laid out, you have hardware interrupts, software interrupts, you have tasks, and then you have an idle background which sits, and basically that's your wild one that's waiting for things to happen. And then how things are clocked, basically priorities and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it for that. And then we go to the lab. You got the lab Wi-Fi from Module 20, and they kind of go over some of the basics of what you're going to learn. Getting started, some reading material. I have a couple books. I do have this. I have all these books actually, but I did buy the new one for the MSP432. I also have them for the previous TI, the TM4C123. And then you have real-time operating system. There's RTOS one too. Actually, neither one of them really covers in depth about the Wi-Fi. It's very brief for this particular thing. And it goes through and explains about how it's going to be set up. And then you have to set up some stuff, so you have to download some modules. You have the TI's kernel, so you're going to have to get this MSP432 simple link download. You have to install that. You can do that either from the web and download and install it, or you can do it through the GUI. Just make sure you check the versions. This is yeah, this is okay. Some of the versions, I think, maybe later. Some of them in here, this is kind of old. So yeah, so like say this is older than that, so that's kind of old. So you have to install this one also for the 3120. Also, the note when you get it for the MSP432, make sure you get it for the P4, not for the E. E's a bit bigger and different pinout. This is for the CC3120, although you'll notice a lot of the examples are for the 3220, which is the launch pad. That's going to be interesting too. So we have a little bit example of how the communication again with that block diagram. The image of the MSP432 with the module on top of it, and then also again, if you're going to plug the USB, you want to make sure it's not powered on and connected to the motor controller board. That can create some badness. And then so they go for the lab Wi-Fi. So this is again the pinout. And then the first one is you have to basically import this network terminal, and then you can use the console window that's actually in Code Composer Studio. That's actually pretty handy. And then it shows how to set that up. And then also you can inside a Code Composer Studio, you can download the modules through the Resource Explorer. So they show that. Um, then you want to restart to make sure. So here again you have setting up the COM port, and then the Wi-Fi using the network. And so with this one, the first one, network terminal, you basically it's basically a command line terminal that you set. You can connect to a Wi-Fi. So you give it the SSID, the type, and then your password. And then once it's connected, then you can ping out to a website. Now, the problem with this does not work with hidden websites or SSIDs. I mean, they have to be broadcasted. In my particular case, I do not broadcast my SSID for my main routers. So that didn't quite work. There's other ways around this. You can kind of hard code it in there and get it to work. But yeah, I could scan and see other stuff, but I couldn't connect to my network with that one. And then from here, this link here will get you the Lab 20, which does not come with the main bundle, where you get all the other labs and all the other goodies. So you have to get this separate. And there's actually get time and weather. So this example goes out using the RESTful API, get and post, I believe is what it is. And it gets a time from a time server out there, and then weather information based on Dallas. You can set it up for your own location if you would like, but that's pretty interesting. So you can set up triggers to go off and do that. So that's basically what the Lab 20 Wi-Fi does, and that kind of worked out good. And then you'll take Lab 20 and you'll convert it into going off to if then and if this then that. So this is pretty cool for IoT devices. Like if you have a Amazon Echo or some of these other devices, you can set up triggers and stuff like that. Also for other internet devices, IoT devices, you can set up triggers for that. If you really like having your stuff out there hanging on the web. Me don't like that. So I like to do things, I have OpenHAB, so I do things locally. So this was kind of wasn't feeling too good about it, but I did it. And so they go through and show you how, well, they kind of give you an overview of how to set this up. They don't show you exactly how to set this up. They show you how to go to the site. So you have to go to the IFT site, I guess, site, and set up an account, and then you have to set up this, what they call webhooks. And what you do is you end up setting up a simulated button press. You'll set up a trigger. So when the button press is received, it'll send you an email. And then you have to go through. I had to play with this for a while because this wasn't quite exactly laid out the way it is on the web. So it took I've never done this before, so it took a little bit of education on how to get through that. And then you'll choose your actions, and then once you have this set up, and it basically sends you an email when an event. And it's basically when way it has it, if the site gets a get, you'll get the event through email, and you'll get a URL with a key, and then you have your own key and stuff like that over here. This will change for you, and then you can go to, you'll get this site, and you can go to that site to go look at how it's laid out and stuff like that. And then explains how the kit, you'll get this kind of long URL. So it's from Maker. So I guess they created a Maker area for people that are makers and want to create this stuff. And then you'll have an event, which is the button pressed, and then with key, and then the key that they provide you. And so you'll have this kind of long message or URL that you have to put inside there. And then they explain how to make a copy of it, and then go through that. And then the rest of it's troubleshooting and things, and that's about it. But they really don't give you a lot of information about this. So this is actually the hardest thing, I think, for me to figure out, because they do have, let me see if I can get this, turn that off. Go to the code, see if I can get this up. Ooh. Yeah. So inside here, this is how it's set up, the weather server, and then you'll do a get to this, and then they have post buffer for the rest of the stuff. This is the thing you have to figure out what to put where. And this was the biggest one right here, what to put in the get. And basically what you end up doing, just put the whole URL right here. And then this thing here, I just took off all this except for this piece, and then the host, added the website, the ifmaker website, basically, without all the key and stuff on it. And then the accept. And that was about it. And then I had to come down and make some other edits, because you have to. I took out one of the post buffers, and then you have this post buffer too, and yeah, it took a while to try to figure this out. And the other issue that I found with the if playing with this, I'd set it up, run it, it didn't work, and I'd change something, run it, didn't work, and I'd go through these iterations and getting frustrated. And then about a half hour, 40 minutes later, I get a series of email messages that say, oh, you had events. Like, which one was it? So I had to go backtrack and look at timestamps to figure out, okay, which one, at what time, and then how was it laid out, because you'll get an output that show how this is laid out. I'm not going to do that here because it just, yeah, it takes a while, because you'll send it, and it, like I said, it take a half hour to 40 minutes or something like that to get the email messages. So that was a bit frustrating, and it finally worked. I'll post that in the review. And so there's that. And so that was a Wi-Fi. And then you have the IF. So I had 2 projects, and then if I don't get, yep. So I did the get with the whole maker HTTPS out with the button press and all that stuff, and that seemed to work. Yeah, this was quite fun. And I had to make some other edits down there too. So that was fun. And then for what I did beyond this, because this wasn't quite working for me, I went and added MQTT client. So I imported this project, and then I've added my motor controller stuff, my movement, and then I set this up so basically I can send a message and then publish something off to a topic, and then make the motors move. Basically right now I make them move and then stop. That's about it, because I was having a problem with the direction with what was coded before and with what's coded now with the TI-RSLK. So there was a bit of a conflict with that. So let me see. I go to the client. So where is that? And I basically took I don't want to show it. See. Hey. Let me see if I got the false. Nope. Okay. Well. So I took the topics that they had and I changed them basically. So I set it up so I get my events come through, and then so they have the LED toggle. So I added my functions and stuff like here. This is based on the example that was in the previous lab, and so you just have it. I took the 3 topics that they had, and then I have it go. I try to go backwards. It doesn't go backwards. I haven't quite figured that out. I can stop it and I can make it go. And then the LED still flash. And then this works for a little bit and then it dies. So that's always fun. So let's see if we can get this thing up and running. I have a couple of those, and then do I have it? Thought I had an output here. Should have a COM window. It's not showing me. So this one should be something else. I'm not sure what's going on. That should be my serial output. I don't know if that's what's showing. The tool that I have is kind of funky. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I could go back over to Putty, I think. Oh, I don't know. Let's see if I can go do window capture. See if I can go find it. Okay, we'll put it there. Okay, so we have all these things up here, a way to input. Yep. Let me go ahead and start MQTT, sir. MQTT, yeah. Let's start the server. Okay, the server started. And then we'll go over here. And then turn this guy on. It should come on. So it should register. And then it should subscribe to these topics. So I've changed these to 3 topics and then changed some of the information for 3120. Everything comes up 3220. So I have motor stop, motor go, and motor back. I don't think I have those set, do I? Probably not. So this isn't right. So we'll go ahead and publish to, say, motor go, M go. It didn't work. I don't know why. Something blinged. I'm not quite sure what that was. Let me see. Maybe I waited too long. I'll go reset this dude. Right. Try it again. It's not gonna work. Of course. Right? Isn't that how it goes? Somebody. Huh. Not quite sure. I don't know why it's not working now. Oh, doy. See? I had the wrong topic. There you go. Actually, yeah, that funky sound. There's so many wires and stuff that are over here. And now with the encoders and the magnets and stuff like that, they're catching on stuff. So I'm gonna need to fix that. So that was me being able to see if it still works. Stop. Oh, go. Now I gotta reset it again. So we do that again. Right. And the message doesn't really do anything. I'm trying to figure out how to capture that. It just doesn't do anything. But you do see on the payload over here. I was trying to figure out how to capture that. I couldn't quite figure that out. And then I was going to catch something. So, because if I do back, it still goes forward. And you stop. So stop. So that's pretty much it. So that's using, this is actually from a Beaglebone, as it says, using Mosquitto server that's running over here. Yeah, you can see it, socket error. So it dies. It just keeps doing that. So that's always fun. I have to reset. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that either. I've used this quite a bit and don't remember having that bit of a problem. And so I have Mosquitto running on my Beaglebone, the Beaglebone Black, and then I can publish and subscribe from there. And then that's what this guy over here does. So when it sets up the client, and then it registers itself as in station mode with my stuff, and then it goes off. It sets up this broker. There's also another topic. There's a published topic. It's not showing. There's actually a published topic that you can subscribe to as well. But the problem for the switches, problem with those is when you use those and you hit like button like switch 2. There's another thing I need to figure out. Where is it? Oh well, I missed it. Let's see if it does it. Yeah. What happens? It resets. I don't know why. So if you hit switch 2, which is the only topic they have set for the switch, then it resets the board. Don't know quite why that is, but it does. It'll give you a message saying it published it, but it does reset the board. And there wasn't anything set up for switch 1, so that's just the way it is. So there you go. There's Lab 20. I know I don't have it running anywhere doing stuff. I plan to make one more video, I think, and then I have another piece to add on here that I have. It's an option that's not with any of the kits, and it should be an option later, I guess. And I end up having to tear this thing apart and put it back together. So hopefully I can get all this thing done real quick because I'm running late. I'm actually overdue with this, so we'll see what happens. There you go.